always loved the idea of living in a small town, away from the noise and chaos of the city. When I moved to Hollow Creek, it seemed like the perfect escape. Quaint houses with flower-filled gardens lined the cobblestone streets, and the townsfolk welcomed me with smiles that felt genuine. But there was something unspoken that lingered in the air, a tension that no one dared to address. In the first week, I began to hear whispers about an old mansion on the outskirts of town. It was called Thornhill House, and though no one outright warned me to stay away, their silence about it was loud enough. It was said to be cursed, a place where terrible things had happened. Children dared each other to touch its rusted gate, but none ever entered. The house stood like a dark sentinel at the end of a winding path through a decaying grove of trees. Its roof sagged under years of neglect, its once grand facade now a crumbling ruin. It was a portrait of despair, yet strangely, I felt drawn to it. One evening, after a particularly restless day, I decided to see it for myself. The gate groaned as I pushed it open, the sound echoing unnaturally in the stillness. Weeds had overtaken the once pristine garden, and the stone path to the front door was cracked and uneven. I didn't intend to go inside, but as I stood there staring at the rotting wood of the door, something compelled me. Perhaps it was the faint flicker of movement in one of the upper windows, or the way the air seemed to hum with anticipation. Before I realized it, my hand was on the door, pushing it open. The interior was worse than I imagined. Dust blanketed every surface, and cobwebs hung in thick sheets from the corners. The air was heavy, thick with the scent of mildew and decay. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the groaning of the wooden floorboards beneath my feet. As I explored, I noticed strange things. Family portraits lined the walls, but the faces were smeared or scratched out. Furniture was arranged as if the house had been abandoned in haste, with dishes still on the dining table and a chair knocked over near the fireplace. Then I heard it, a faint melody, soft and eerie, like a music box playing a lullaby. It was coming from upstairs. My heart pounded as I climbed the grand staircase, each step creaking loudly in the suffocating quiet. At the end of the hallway, a door was slightly ajar, a warm light spilling out into the darkness. I pushed it open to find a child's bedroom. It was eerily untouched, as though frozen in time. Toys were neatly arranged on shelves, a small bed was perfectly made, and on the dresser sat a music box, its lid open. I approached it cautiously. The melody was haunting, the kind that stayed with you long after it stopped. As I reached out to close the lid, the room grew icy cold. The door behind me slammed shut with a deafening bang, and the music box fell silent. Then I saw her. A little girl in a tattered dress stood in the corner, her back to me. Her hair was matted and tangled, and she didn't move. "Hello?" I called out, my voice trembling. She turned slowly, and when I saw her face, my stomach lurched. Her eyes were hollow, black voids, and her mouth stretched into an unnatural grin that seemed to split her face in two. "Play with me," she whispered, her voice echoing unnaturally in the small room. I stumbled backward, knocking over the music box. The melody resumed, but it was faster now, frantic and distorted, as though the box were alive. The girl took a step toward me, her movements jerky and unnatural, like a puppet on strings. I bolted for the door, but it wouldn't budge. The walls seemed to shift, closing in on me. The girl was inches away, her hand outstretched, fingers twisted and claw-like. Her laughter filled the air, shrill and piercing, as I pounded on the door. "Let me out!" I screamed, my voice breaking. Just as her icy fingers brushed my arm, the door flew open and I stumbled into the hallway. I didn't stop running. I flew down the stairs, through the front door, and out into the night, gasping for air. The mansion loomed behind me, silent and still, as though nothing had happened. But I knew better. Even now, when the wind howls through the trees at night, I hear the faint melody of that cursed music box, beckoning me back to Thornhill House. I never returned, but sometimes in my dreams I see her face and hear her whisper, "Play with me."